Hi everyone, my name is Lauren Pizzo, and I actually am one of Mrs. Tingle's friends from college. So she reached out and asked if I could talk to you guys briefly about what my job as a lawyer is like, and I'm happy to do that. Let's see, I have it pulled up in front of me, her question. So like I said, my name's Lauren Pizzo. I'm an attorney. My title is actually called Corporate Counsel. And it's for a big financial technology company called FIS, which I had never heard of before I worked there, but we have over 50,000 employees all over the world, and we create financial software for banks and other things like that. So when you go to Venmo somebody on your phone or Zelle or something like that, we created that technology that allows you to do all your banking wirelessly. I've been there for almost 3 years, and before that I was at a law firm in Tampa, Florida. That's where I live, and I practiced employment law, where I represented companies and really advised HR when things came up with their employees. And then my background is a litigator, which there are two types of lawyers. So you will hear the terms, are you a litigator or are you transactional? And when you hear transactional, that means that you typically work on contracts. And it's like you see on TV or things like that. But those are the lawyers that draft up contracts. And transactional attorneys are also the people that negotiate deals. So when you see lawyers in a boardroom and they're selling off a company or something like that, that's typically a transactional attorney. And then you have litigators. And litigators are what you're going to see pretty much on any big TV show. It's where you're in a courtroom. It's where you're filing documents with the court and you're representing clients, and lawsuits are involved. So I'm a litigator, and I do litigation for my company, which means that anytime our company is sued or may sue somebody else, I get involved and review the documents and hire an outside lawyer to go help us defend ourselves in court or file the lawsuit in court, because we do business all over the world, and I live in Florida. I'm not licensed to practice in all these different, we call them jurisdictions, which is where the different courts are. It could be a state or whatnot. So we hire outside law firms, and also you can't, in order to practice law in a particular state, you have to pass the bar exam in that state and be licensed in that state. So that's just something to keep in mind. I'm licensed in Florida. So what led me to my current job? Okay, everyone will laugh, and Lauren will know this as well, but I have wanted to be a lawyer since I was 12 years old. I'm the first lawyer in my family. Don't even ask me why, I don't know, but in college, high school, college, all of it, I was dead set, I am going to be a lawyer. In high school, I did the IB program, which I'm not sure if you guys have that, but I did the IB program, and it was hard, but I think honestly that prepared me more for law school than college did, because it was a lot of testing and writing and reading. And then I went to the University of Florida, go Gators, and I was a business major, and I specialized in marketing. And because I had extra credits from doing IB, I got my minor in mass communications. I chose marketing through the business school, not the liberal arts program, because I thought it was important just to have a background in business in general for myself. And that's really come in handy for me now working as a business lawyer for a company. And after college, I went straight to law school. I didn't take off any time or work. A lot of people choose to take off time between going to college or going to law school after college. When I graduated, it was right around the 2008 financial crisis, which you guys have a lot going on right now with the coronavirus. It was a pretty bad time when I was graduating as well, and the job market wasn't so great. So what a lot of people were doing was applying to law school. So because you could take the LSAT, the LSAT is the exam you take to qualify for law school. And you don't need any specific background or coursework to take the LSAT. So basically anybody can take the LSAT and apply to law school. So I had a lot of people in my class that now some of them aren't even practicing law. So my point is, law school is a lot of hard work. It's a lot of work, but it's worth it. I made some great friends. I actually went to Florida State University for law, and it's 3 years long. Most people I know are still practicing, but I know other people that decided after they got their degree to take a different career path. But having your JD is what your law degree is called, a Juris Doctor, that will benefit you at any sort of job, especially because you really learn to think a different way as a lawyer. That's something you'll hear a lot, but a lot of law school, it's not learning answers necessarily and learning facts. It's not a lot of what you see on TV. It is really hypothetical questions and teaching your brain how to think about a fact pattern and how to respond. So for my role, I told you guys some about that, but I'm in our corporate counsel group and I work out of our St. Petersburg, Florida office. It's kind of rare for a lawyer, but I have pretty good work-life balance working at this company. Working at a law firm, especially a larger law firm like where I was, you have to bill hours. And you have to keep track of your time of what you're doing every 6 minutes, and which sounds crazy, but you get used to it. But that's how you bill your clients, and you have to meet a certain number of hours a year at a law firm in order to satisfy your performance requirements. I don't have to bill hours anymore, and that's one of the best parts. So one of my typical day, I get to the office around 8:30, go in, I check my emails. I get my coffee, I talk to my coworkers, and then I just start. I get a lot of emails in a day, and a lot of meetings are put on my calendar. And it's oftentimes people at the company, we call them our internal clients, but they're coming in and they're asking me questions, and I'm reviewing contracts, and I'm advising. So a lot of my job is it's reading, writing, and talking to people on the phone. The best part of my job right now is I love what I do. I love being a lawyer, and I love learning about all different sorts of things. I mean, even this morning, I had a phone call with people. Sorry, my dog's barking. I had a phone call. We have a case in China, and we have lawyers in Singapore and Hong Kong, and we filed a lawsuit in Beijing, and it's really, really crazy, especially in these times. But I get to work with these people all over the world, and that has been so amazing. And I've also learned so much about financial technology, and it's a huge growing area, and I'm a big proponent of keep educating yourself. School is so important, and you need to keep developing yourself as you are progressing in your career. I think it's important to look for a company that will help you develop yourself, but if they don't, I think it's so important that you stay on top of that and keep trying to advance. The hardest part of my job, it's very demanding. Also, you have your client and you have to represent your client, which you might not always agree with the client's position or even the company's position, but it's your job to fully represent the client in their best interests. And another tough thing about being a lawyer is that at the end of the day, you could put on your best case, but if the jury or judge decides otherwise, that's it, you lost. And there's an appeal process, but that can be really frustrating because there is uncertainty with outcomes for your cases. So a lot of times cases settle, which I did not realize before I became a lawyer, but I would say over 95% of cases settle before trial, at least in the civil arena. As background, I'm not a criminal lawyer at all. That is a totally separate area of the law. So it's called a civil litigator. Okay, what are my long-term career goals? Well, when I was at a law firm, I wanted to move in-house. In-house is what it's called, being a lawyer for a company. And I want to continue staying in-house. I really like that. And I want to move into more of an employment law attorney role in-house, working with HR. advice I would give to students in finding a career they love. Okay, yeah, this is tough because I was one of those people, the weirdos at 12 years old that knew what I wanted to do. But I would say it's something that you're passionate about. And if you want to, you can work hard and you really can do anything. Keep talking to your counselors, learn about how many different types of careers there are out there. I mean, it's amazing. The world and the dynamics are just changing, and everything with coding and the technology space, IT security is huge. Of course, everything in the healthcare profession, but really you can do anything. So I would just talk to as many people as possible about what they do, and you might end up finding that there's something that you really enjoy, but you don't have to know yet. You're just graduating, you have all of college to figure it out, and people will change their mind so much during college, and it's okay. You can totally change your mind about your major and things like that. So don't be so nervous going in that you need to make a decision immediately. It's okay if you don't know what you want to do. Okay, for an interview. So I've gone on a lot of interviews over time, and I have interviewed a lot of people. I think it's important to know what the culture of where you're interviewing is. And you can learn about that by reading up online. And when I say culture, if it's a laid back company, you might not necessarily want to show up in a suit, but I say always dress up for an interview. I would always dress up for an interview. I always like to do something that has like a personal touch to it. So, I like cool earrings. Maybe I'll wear a cool earring with my suit or something like that. But you could always err on the side of dressing more professionally. Be prepared for the interview. You want to read the job description. You want to have, you want to know about the company. I usually, if you can find out, I like to find out who is interviewing me, and I like to read up more about them and their background. And I would say the biggest thing that people, when they don't do this on interviews, I think it's a big mistake. At the end of the interview, I think it's so important, if you have the opportunity, ask the interviewer questions. Have 2 or 3 questions prepared. Think about them ahead of time. It could be basic things about the company, or it can be asking the person how they've liked working at the company or what their career path was like. But 1, people love talking about themselves. And 2, if an interviewer, if I ask somebody, do you have any questions for me? And they say no, I sometimes take that as a sign that they're not interested. So that's probably my best interview tip, is always have questions prepared. It will make you look very good. And the job outlook for my profession. It's interesting right now with the coronavirus pandemic. There's always going to be lawyers. There's always going to be lawyers. There's always going to be doctors. Types of law that are popular in certain times that will maybe ebb and flow. Like if you practice bankruptcy law, that's probably going to be a big area coming up. But the outlook of my profession, I think lawyers are going to stay here. Lawyers are here. But we're seeing so many more women practicing law, which is awesome to see. So many more women judges. I think things are getting much more diverse. Things are getting more laid back. Like I get to wear jeans to work. I'm not in a suit every day. I just think the profession, it's a little bit slower to change than some other professions, but it is changing and becoming more modernized. And I think the more women and people with different viewpoints we get into the profession, the more we can keep changing it. So I think that we are going to see a lot of changes coming up with not your typical, stuffy lawyer in a suit and, in the courtroom. I think we're going to see some dynamic changes when it comes to law. So thank you guys for letting me talk to you and tell you a little bit about what it's like being a lawyer. And I will say, Legally Blonde is still my favorite movie. Okay, bye.